Hey, it's Eva. I wake up ambitious people like you and dare them to be great. Are you more often thinking about the past and the future than about the present? Or are you often frustrated at others? Or do you often feel the pressure of this endless to-do list? Well, you might be stuck in what I call the pit. And what's the pit? Well, imagine that there's this deep hole in the ground, and that's the pit. And it's really a place of, it's very narrow there, dark, and it's a place of powerlessness where you just feel trapped by these walls that are around you. There's a lot of negativity, blame, regret, and there's a lot of things that keep you stuck. So dwelling on the past, worrying about the future, thinking about the work that other people still need to do for you, thinking about aspects where you don't have a control over. So really a place where you're basically not operating from your internal locus of control of what you can do, but where you rather feel the victim of circumstances. And being a victim of circumstances, it has many different faces, and it often has a lot of faces that we don't instantly or easily associate with the victimhood, with sitting in the pit. So an example, I once worked with this brilliant entrepreneur, Leah, and Leah was constantly procrastinating. And although she had amazing ideas, she could never seem to get them off the ground. She just wouldn't start, wait until the very last minute. She really needed that adrenaline and stress to take action. Though when she then took the action, she was never really happy because she knew she could have done so much more if she would just have started the moment that she thought of it. Well, Leah was stuck in the pit because she believed that she was just like that she couldn't manage her time or prioritize effectively. And I mean, the difference between sitting in the pit and standing on top of the pit when you believe about yourself that you can't manage your time is the sense of, I really can't do anything about it. This is just who I am. And having this really weight coming over you when you believe this is just who I am. I'm sorry. And it's true. I'm not good enough. So she was sitting in the pit. But there's other ways to sit in the pit. For example, John, a super talented musician. Wow. And he eventually let me hear some of his music because in the beginning he was really terrified of performing. And music was his life. He would really pour his heart out into his music, but the thought of sharing it with an audience, instant anxiety. And so John was as well trapped in the pit of self-doubt because he kept believing he wasn't good enough, and it just made it more and more and more difficult to go out there and show the world what he was worth. And so that again is a way of sitting in the pit. Or I remember coaching Sarah, and Sarah, she's this boss lady executive, and even though she was on top of the world, she was constantly seeking validation of others. She'd really go above and beyond to please her colleagues, to please her clients, to say yes to things that when we looked at it even on paper, we just saw it's not possible. Even if you wanted to do it, you can't do it if you say yes to 5 people at the same time. It's just not possible. And so she said yes to everything. And she pleased her path to success, but it really meant sacrificing her own needs. And at a certain moment in time, she started really, it started to bother her. But she believed that she didn't have a choice. And believing that you don't have a choice, that is sitting in the pit. Because if you believe that your worth depends on this external approval and that if you say no, people will dislike you, people will not be in business with you anymore. Wow, you make yourself so vulnerable to the other and you completely let go of your internal locus of control. So staying in the pit and making yourself dependent on external aspects, external circumstances, it really keeps you from reaching your full potential. It really prevents you from taking the responsibility over your own life and creating that change that you want. And I can already hear a couple of you thinking, yes, but, and in this situation, but this, but that. No, there's an amazing book about this. It's called The Choice from Eva Edith Eger. And she wrote a book about sitting in the pit or standing above it, even in situations where you are locked up in Auschwitz. And so being in the pit or standing on top of the pit can be in any type of situation. So if you recognize yourself in any of these stories, it's really time to climb out of the pit. Or picture yourself climbing on these little small stairs that are very uncomfortable, because it's uncomfortable to go and stand on the edge of the pit. It's uncomfortable. Sitting in the pit, it's actually quite safe because you don't have to take action. It's all dependent on the others. But please, take the risk. Go climb all the way to the top. And from there, you have a really powerful perspective, because you can do two things. First of all, you can look down and observe. You can see what the situation is more clearly. So from an objective point of view, what is happening? What's your role in it? How are you keeping yourself trapped? If you always keep on attracting the same annoying situations, the same frustrating, annoying people that don't take their responsibility, for example, you are playing a role in this. You are playing a role in the dynamics. If you change your part, the dynamics cannot exist the way it's existed. So really look, what can I do? How can I change the dynamics? So look down and see what's happening, and be vulnerable and be open about what you're doing yourself. And then the second dynamic, rather than looking down, you can look forward. You can look forward and see all the different options, the possibilities that you have. What actions can you take? How can you move forward? Look at it and first come up with at least 3-4 alternatives on what you can do different. It doesn't mean that you have to do it. I mean, you can go and stand on top of the pit and look at the options and think, this is scary. It is scary. And you can just climb down again. Or you can pick this one solution, this one alternative, and make this one step forward and see what happens. So here again are 3 things that you can do to climb out of the pit. First of all, recognize that you're in it, because the first step is always awareness. Notice your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors. How often are you blaming others? Or what are you focusing on? Is it more on the negative or the positive? How much are you controlling versus how much are you trusting? Second, take ownership. It's really time to take ownership for your life. So focus on what you can control. Your actions, your reactions, your choices. Really go into your internal locus of control. And then 3, next to the awareness and the really going into your internal locus of controls, shift your focus. Instead of dwelling on the past, worrying about the future, controlling whatever needs to be controlled according to you, bring your attention to the present moment, now. What can you do now, right now, to move forward? So remember, you are not defined by your circumstances. You have the power to create a different futures. You have the strength to climb out of the pit and step into your greatness. So do you know someone who's stuck in the pit? Well, share this video with them. And let's help each other to wake up and dare to be great. Because together we can create a world where people wake up and dare to be great. So I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.